Look in ESRL race chat. Hello everyone, by the way, if you're just joining the stream.
Hello, hello. Gosh. Oh, 17 on the grid this evening, so it's going to be a good race.
We have full grid and race 1.
Whoa.
Nearly full last week as well, so yeah, it's looking really good. You seen it?
Yeah. Nice.
Let me turn mine off so that I don't accidentally record the race.
Yes, hello ESRL, I'm back!
Yes, Sumo is back with me in the commentary box. I am delighted to report. And really looking forward to this race around Spain. We've got 19 on the grid now, wow.
Oh, damn. They must have heard I'm back.
Must be it, yeah.
Yeah, that's coming in their droves. Noah Mir?
Noah Mir. Not at the moment, anyway. He retired from last week's race because he couldn't bear the horrific sound glitch. But
I can sympathise with that.
yeah, I think they seem to have fixed it now. He says.
I haven't had it in a while.
I haven't had it in a while either, so yeah, I'm hoping that they fixed it now. I'm gonna very quickly. Actually, no, I don't need to do that.
Yeah, it's countdown time.
I was gonna say I was gonna quickly grab my other laptop, but I've got my phone with me, so I can look at the chat from there. But it looks like we're about to get underway. Which is very exciting. Race 3 of this third season of ESRL, with Nath Clark leading the championship. Hello Rick, like and subscribe, I couldn't agree more mate. Duocons, yes, Sumo is back.
Hello everyone.
Which is fantastic. Always great to share a commentary box with him. And yeah, are you looking forward to today's race, Sumo?
I'm always looking forward to ESRL races, Ghost.
Yes.
Always. There's always something going on. There's always some battles to be had, and there's always some drama to unfold here in ESRL. And yeah, it's a shame I've been missing the last few, but I'll try and make these a bit more often if I can. As ESRL always does provide some some extraordinary entertainment along the racetrack.
Absolutely. It's always a fun time to commentate on ESRL. Everyone, of course, with no assists in this league, no racing line, no ABS, none of that silly stuff, says the man who races with racing line. But it's it's a great league. It's a fantastic challenge for drivers who don't usually race without the aid of assists. Run by Scott M89, who's in the McLaren today. He's been a lot better this season, Sumo, I'm glad to report. He's been much more on the pace. Finished a very strong, I think it was P8 or something in race 1, and then race 2 had a decent result as well. So yeah, looking forward to seeing him go well. We've got a few new names today. Robinet has got himself a seat after he got his maiden podium in race 1 as a reserve, and he's got himself a permanent seat now, which is fantastic. Yeah, any thoughts on the Barcelona-Catalunya track, Simo?
Well, it's always been a difficult circuit. They don't call it Spain without the S for nothing. That first chicane exit of which is turn 2 can be a very deadly portion. If you get the power wrong through turn 3, you can see yourself running wide or even going for a spin perhaps. It's very easy to go wide at the exit of turn 4. Lockups there are plenty as Vardy goes for a spin at the exit of turn 5, the corner I was just talking about. Turn 7 and 8, of course, very infamous around this circuit, especially with this year's iteration of cars and their impact on downforce coming from the floor. Any unsettling motions will unstable the car. Turn 9 is actually a lot nicer this year. You can actually run out on the curb for once, which is nice, as Vardy tries to, just watching him get back on the circuit. The new reprofiled turn 10, it's a tricky one to get right. It seems like one of those corners that never ends.
Yeah.
And then the very tricky and just plain awful sector 3, that horrible chicane at the end, which if you get that exit of the chicane wrong and the corner following, you will set yourself up for a poor lap as you run all the way down to turn 1, which is quite a long way.
Yeah, absolutely. That reprofiled turn 10, it's certainly very different to how it used to be, but it's mainly the issue with it is that you can take so many different lines and they're all very similar around that corner. So yeah, we'll have to see how the drivers go for it this time. I'm running on board with Moti Peretz. He's going to be the first to set a lap in the Alpine with his teammate Major just behind him. Major's had a very disappointing start to the season, it's safe to say. I know he's a very quick driver on elite settings, so hopefully he can bounce back this week. As Moti Peretz comes through turn 9. Is that turn 9 or turn 8?
That's turn 9.
Turn 9, alright. So coming to turn 10 now, opens the DRS. His teammate's definitely getting visibly closer, so it's a decent lap from Major just behind him, but Moti hoping to at least get a decent time on the board to start off with. As he comes through sector 3 now, his teammate just behind him misses the apex though of the left-hander of the chicane. As he comes down to the line, you've got to avoid all the yellow curbs on this track. They're horrible. He sets the initial pace, but Major immediately beats him by nearly 2 seconds. At 1 minute 18.9, Robinet about 2.5 tenths behind Major. That's a great opener from the German in the Alpine. Who's going to be next? It's Speed, who blows Major out of the water, as you would expect. The South African, a force to be reckoned with in ESRL, and he's up to a 1 minute 17.7. Nath Clark beats him though, the championship leader.
That's a great lap from Nath Clark. 17.5, incredibly quick from our championship leader at the moment. Speed's just off the back of winning a race over an APPF1, which he fought hard with Ghost, from what I could imagine. I was toward the back most of the race, so I didn't see it happen. As Eddie Ayrton is coming across, our championship leader from a little while back, and it's a 17.2 for the Ferrari driver, and that's decent form from him in this qualifying session at the moment. We've got some Mercedes about to come across the line. I think that's Avi, 43.4. Not the best lap from him, and Racing Wheel starting a lap now. So first runs are coming in. We've got a few more left to go. Tears out on track now. I think he'll be the next across the line to set a lap. Invalidated.
Oh, that's unfortunate. So that'll mean Rick, the Dutchman, will be next to set a lap in the Alfa Romeo. But yeah, Eniel Ayrton, the reigning champion, has not had a good start to the season at all. And he is not doing what he did last week, which was what he did pretty much all of last season. He just stayed in the pits the entire qualifying session, came out, did a lap, Bosch on pole, right at the end. He did it again last week and ended up 5th, so clearly he's realised he can't do that anymore, and he's into provisional pole, about 2.5 tenths clear of the current championship leader, Nath Clark, with Speed, the other challenger, in P3. Myra very close to them as well, decent lap from the Alfa Romeo, and a good lap from the Dutchman Rick as well, straight into P5 from him.
Yeah, that's a solid time at the moment. It's about a second off Speed's pace, which is what would dignify the top 3, I'd have said. Racing Wheel coming through, a slight lock-up into that final chicane there, coming round the final corner. Don't one ride or you will spin. And there's no spins from the Mercedes as it goes into P15. Not the best of laps. Some time to be found.
His teammate today, Avi, though, has gone into P5, has split the Alfa Romeos. Much better lap from the Israeli driver. Only 0.008 of a second behind Myra, so it could be a very close battle for that last spot on the second row. But I do think the top 3 will be occupied by the current top 3. In which order? Who knows? We'll have to find out. Lost Stock as well as another driver coming round who had good form last season in ESRL. Hasn't had the greatest start to the season, but looked like a decent first sector for him. We'll ride on board with the Aston Martin as he comes through sector 2.
That looked fairly decent through turn 5. You've got to try and carry as much speed as you can through that hairpin there, which will set you up nicely coming through here. Then you've got to be very, very careful not to run too wide and get on the power too early through that corner, and Lostock's navigated that very well in that Aston Martin. There's Vardy got himself disqualified.
Yeah, he did.
Vardy. That's a shame for the McLaren driver. He will start plumb last in this race. It's purple sector 2 for Lostock, but we won't pay too much mind to that on this first run for the Aston Martin driver. That looks like a fairly clean turn 12 as we come into this twisty final sector now, into that horrible, horrible chicane. And looked like a decent run through there for the Aston Martin, a good exit as well, perhaps, coming through the final corner. What lap time is this going to be? I think it might be toward the top. Not quite top. P12.
Yeah, he was very conservative there through that last chicane, I thought. Just missing the apexes and going very slowly to make sure he avoids the dreaded yellow curbs. You do not want to be getting your car on those, or you will be straight off the track. They are very, very lethal. Who's that that's just improved? Oh, it was TH3 in the Haas, but not a representative time. Tier and Womax on an outlap as well. They're the only ones not to have set laps yet, although Scaparo and TH3 also haven't really set laps yet. They are at least on the board. Myra is just about to start a lap, currently running in P4, so I'll ride on board with the Alfa Romeo as they come through Sector 1. It's a very difficult turn 1 and 2, especially turn 2. You've got to get it perfect, and Myra's gone for a spin at turn 3. It's so easy to do because you need to be full throttle through that corner in order to get the maximum pace possible, but you've also got to keep very close to the curb. And Myra just pushing it a little bit too far in that respect, which is something I've done as well.
Robinette finding his way into P7 on that previous lap. That's a decent lap time from the Alpha Tauri, and that's improved him into the top 10 for the moment. Now I think Womax is coming to start his lap, as is Scaparo and Tier. So we'll keep an eye on the Red Bulls and that Aston Martin as they come around. Who is due through next?
Possibly Major? No, Major's further back.
Oh, fastest sector 1 from Patty Pat in the Williams at the moment. We'll keep an eye on that. Major's invalidated his lap at the, so he will have to go around again. Speed's on an outlap, so I think it is Patty Pat who is going to be our next driver to come across the line, and it's looking like a decent time. I've raced a few times against Patty Pat, and he is fairly quick around this circuit, so let's see what he can do as he comes towards this purple again. So this is looking like a very, very quick lap from the Williams. This could be deceiving though, perhaps, if any glitches are present, but it's looking decent so far. It's sector 3 now to navigate, and this could be make or break for the lap.
Well, he was 2/10 up on his previous best in Sector 2, so unless he has an absolutely monumental Sector 3, I do think those purple sectors were a bit of a glitch, unfortunately, but it still looked like a decent time from Patipat, and it indeed does get him up to P7. Look how close those times are between P6 and down to P10. There's barely a tenth between all of them. So this could be a very close qualifying between those drivers in the midfield. Or the upper midfield, I should say. Avi has gone for a spin at exactly the same place that Myra did. I imagine making exactly the same mistake as well. Very easy to do. We do have the top 3 on laps as well. Ayrton is on a lap, the provisional pole sitter. Nath Clark is starting a lap. Speed is coming to the end of his lap, so we're right on board with the AlphaTauri. My comments just came up just as the time came up, so I can't see if he's better or worse than his previous best. He's a little bit wide of the apex through turn 11. We'll see if he can make up for that in Sector 3 down to this final chicane now. He hits that first yellow curb, but that's okay for the AlphaTauri driver. And he comes across the line. Is it going to be provisional pole for Speed? No, but it is P2, just about a tenth and a half off of Ayrton. Ayrton will be next, and he improves to a 16.9, 4.5 tenths ahead of Speed. That is a huge lap from the reigning champion, and Nath Clark is way down, so he will have to go again. These top 3 are class above the rest.
Wow, what a great lap from Ayrton to throw down the gauntlet even further for everybody out there at the minute. Rick says it's 8 thousandths of a second between himself and Patipat in P6 and 7 there. Incredibly close indeed.
Yeah, wow.
Especially as you look around the grid at the moment and trying to find someone else out on the lap for you. I think that's, I'll say Littlewood because I don't want to say the rest. Barks, Littlewood, I don't know.
Barks,
I'll just say Littlewood in the Ferrari, or Barks as he comes across the line now. It's going to be P11 for the Ferrari, just on the fringes of the top 10. And on strategical pole position, not that that matters anymore.
Yes. But yeah, not a bad lap for the Ferrari. Trugster's just about to start a lap as well in the Haas. Yeah, I will say, Sumo, it is Robinet in the AlphaTauri as opposed to Robinette, because he's French. So
there we go.
Yeah, Robinet, he got a podium in week 1. I think he was P2 actually, so it was a fantastic result for him while he was a reserve driver. He now joins the permanent seats ranks, and I'm looking forward to see what he can do. He was unfortunately absent last week, but he's back this week, and yeah, hopefully he can continue his good form. All of the top 7 in the pits, so I'll keep on board with the Frenchman in the AlphaTauri.
Riding on board with Scott, he's coming through the turn 10 right now. A very deep line from the McLaren. He was up on his time on the previous sector time, but I missed the last one, so I'm not exactly sure where he is. So we're going to have to wait till he comes across the line. He's approaching a little bit of traffic of the Ferrari of, I think that's Littlewood. Then he spins, he gets on the sausage curb on the exit of the chicane. That was quite a dramatic spin, but he's ended just in front of the pit lane, so he'll be straight back in for a new set of tyres.
Unfortunate for Scott, but this is a great looking lap from Robinet, very good through Sector 3 and up to P6. Yeah, huge improvement, 7/10 improvement, and joins the ranks of Myra and Avi in that sort of ballpark, just about a tenth behind them. As Myra and Avi are on outlaps now, so they will be going again. 3.5 minutes left in the session. I imagine the top 3 will be coming out for their final laps pretty soon. We've got Trugster just a little bit down through Sector 1 in that Haas, hoping to improve. That's not a way to improve. A bit of a half spin at turn 6, and that will really cost him in terms of lap time. We'll have to see as he comes across Sector 2 how much he has lost. I think that was lost stock into P8. Yes, it was.
Yeah, 6/10 improvement from the Aston Martin. That was a decent lap to get him into the top 10.
Yeah, and Robinet, sorry, not Robinet, Trugster was 8/10 down through Sector 2, so that mistake very costly. Avi is on a lap in the Mercedes, the Constructors Champion, or one half of the Constructors Champions from last season. Himself and Amir working together really well that season. As Avi comes through Sector 2 now, down towards 7 and 8. You've got to avoid that yellow curb on the right of 8. Scaparo's got himself a 5-place grid penalty for a collision with Rick. I didn't see what happened, but Avi is gone! Avi has spun at turn 9, I think that is. And that is a very easy thing to do, but he'll be gutted because that looked like a really good lap from the Israeli, and he's not going to have enough time to set another one because I believe he will have damage to that front wing. Yeah, that end plate's gone, so Avi will not be improving this for the rest of this qualifying session. What about Myra, though, in the Alfa Romeo? Are they improving through Sector 3 now, up to the final chicane? 3/10 up, so Myra could be challenging the top 3 here, perhaps. But nearly hits the Mercedes of Avi, who just about got enough out the way as Myra comes across the line. And yeah, wow, only 2/10 down on Nath Clark. Fantastic lap for the Alfa Romeo. Robinet has retired from the session. Where is that? It's in the pit lane, so no improvement there. The top 3 are on out laps, so we'll keep an eye on them as well.
Yeah, Rick's about to start a lap as well, just trying to find anyone else out on a lap. I think Littlewood's about to start his final run of the session. I think it's part of the course for everybody. Womack is coming around the final corner to finally set a possible better lap time. I'm not sure where it's going to put him, just ahead of Scaparo. Those two are 10th apart in P17 and 18, so not the best lap from the Bulgarian.
Rick and Patty Pat going to continue their battle in this qualifying session. Rick about 1.5 tenths down in Sector 1, so he's going to have to improve elsewhere on the lap. Patty Pat was about 0.5 tenth up in the same sector, so can he follow it through? Coming round turn 9 now, very nicely done there, up towards turn 10, down the DRS straight, and 2.5 tenths up for the Brit in the Williams. So looking good for perhaps getting into P8. The top 3 have started their laps, so we'll keep an eye on that, but I'm just going to finish off Patty Pat's lap here to see how far he can get up the grid. Can he get himself into P8? Around the final few corners he comes up towards the line. Where is he going to be? Opens the DRS into P7, even better for the Williams. A good lap from him, but I've got to keep an eye on the top 3 because who is going to be first across the line between them? It's going to be Speed, so I'll ride on board with Speed as he comes through turn 9.
Littlewood up on his previous best, could see him up a couple places. No improvement, not quite an improvement on the lap time, no improvement on position at the moment. I think that's Scaparo spinning at the chicane. That is a shame for the Red Bull tier. Couldn't get a faster lap. A big lock up from Monty Perez sends him straight on at the chicane in Sector 3. Lots of trouble being had at that corner. I think Speed is about to come across the line.
He invalidated at turn 10. Just got a bit of oversteer and messed it up. Just got too far over the line.
Nath Clark. The final corner. It's going to come across the line. Is this an improvement from the Williams? It is. Knocks Speed down to P3. Gets himself onto the front rows. Ayrton goes slightly quicker than his previous best as well and cements himself on the top unless anything else dramatic can happen. As Major Dessler goes into P4.
Brilliant lap from the German up into the second row. He'll be delighted with that, just behind Speed. Speed will be gutted that he couldn't about that invalidation at turn 10, but the mistake was already made even before he went over the white line. Nath Clark had a bit of an error at turn 10 as well, but managed to keep it on the track. I don't know how much time that would have cost him, probably not 3.5 tenths, so I think P2 is the best he could have managed today, but it is the reigning champion on pole position with the current championship leader right beside him. That's what we like to see, and I'm looking forward to a fantastic race here in ESRL today.
Yeah, it looks incredibly competitive here. The top 5 should be an interesting fight to see. We could have a 5-car battle for the lead, which would be something nice to see, and it's incredibly close as well in the midfield, and there's a few outside runners who might find themselves in elevated positions. Avi is never one to count out in a race, so we could see him make up some positions as well. Robin A as well, get after a win as well. Not a win, but a podium. But anyway, I'll let you run through the grid and I'll stop rambling on.
You're alright, don't worry. Rick has explained what happened between him and Scaparo, by the way. He let Scaparo go through, and Scaparo spun into him at turn 1 and gave him damage. And that was just the 5-place grid penalty, so unfortunate for both of them. But anyway, the grid, NER Ayrton, the reigning champion, on pole position from Denmark, with Nath Clark just beside him on the front row. Speed in P3 just behind, and Major with a fantastic lap into P4. Myra the Finn P5 with Avi P6, and then Robin A, Patty Pat, Trugster and Lostock make up the rest of the top 10, with Rick, Scott, TH3, Barks Littlewood, Moti Peretz, Racing Wheel, Womax, Scaparo, Tier and Vardy disqualified, unfortunately, from the session. He'll start from the back.
I'll just make it. I realised you could probably hear the stream double. I don't know if you could, because my volume was on for whatever reason. Yeah, that's a shame for Rick getting damage as well. It's probably Tier's fault. He does like a spin. But it's the quiet before the storm. We will be getting racing. Is there formation lap here, Ghost? I'm assuming.
I don't think so. I think they also have it off here. So yeah, be prepared.
We're going to go racing almost immediately then. We're waiting for the countdown as drivers edit their strategies and take some fuel out of their cars as well, perhaps, to prepare for the race. 25 seconds. And you can feel the tension. We've got quite the race coming. So make sure you leave a like on Ghost's channel, on Ghost Stream, and subscribe to his channel as well if you've not done so already.
Yeah, please do. I recommend doing both those things. Really helps me out, and helps out ESRL as well. Gives the league more visibility. So they can maybe get a tier 2 in future. But it looks like we are getting underway, and we do have a formation lap. Okay, it's a broadcast. There we go. I remember now. It's a broadcast formation lap. So yeah, we'll listen to Alex Jack. Definitely not David Croft. Screw that guy.
What's Croft?
Yeah, but you're not streaming, so
yeah,
the better commentator is on the actual stream. No, it's anyone who knows me will know that I don't like David Croft very much. So.
This is the first time I've seen the formation lap done like this.
It's a bit weird, isn't it?
It is really weird. It just kind of like skips the entire lap.
Yeah.
I suppose we can't really talk about much.
No, true. Alright, here we go. We're about to get underway. We've got a full grid in ESRL, almost. As
what the hell?
What the hell happened there? With that Mercedes. What is going on there? Oh no, Codemasters. Alright, we're getting underway. 5 red lights. And we're off for the Spanish Grand Prix. Ayrton gets a fantastic start, as does Nath Clark alongside, and he's already alongside. Nath Clark takes the lead, the championship leader, gets the lead before turn 1. No response from Ayrton, and Speed Alcoholic tries to get himself involved as well, just behind. Major with a good start as well, trying to keep up with the Alpha Tauri, maybe trying to make a move on Ayrton early on in this race. We saw what happened the last time these two went wheel to wheel last week. Hopefully it doesn't happen again, but Major right behind them. Nath Clark gets a huge lead straight away. I'm going to start turning on my telemetry and everything as yeah, a poor start for Ayrton has now left him very vulnerable to Speed. We've got good starts further down for Womax, TH3 and Tier as well with a good start. But we're focused on these top 4 as they're barely a hair's breadth between the 4 of them. But Nath Clark trying to extend that 1 second gap early on.
Fairly clean start for everybody then on this opening lap, although Scott seems to have dropped all the way to the back. Perhaps a spin coming through that first chicane sees him back there, but as long as he's not got any damage, he might find himself as it's a little bit of contact. And that's Scaparo spun around. He got hit by Monty Peretz and then hit by Littlewood as well.
Major onto the curb, and he's gone onto the curb of the final corner, that dreaded yellow curb on the left. and he's
Oh,
gone
and
for a
Avi
spin.
too. Avi spun too.
Oh, they're both to the back, and Major will pit for damage, I think, as he is now out of that race between the top four, which is such a shame. Patty Pat with a good start as well, up to P5, and Womack's already up to P10 from 17th on the grid. Myra is now P4 thanks to Major's spin, but a long way off the top three. We're back into a top three situation here as Ayrton now is right on the back of Nath Clark, so that early advantage is gone and speed is now reduced to trying to keep up with them.
Some drama going on as Rick goes side by side with Womack there at turn 5, and I think he's got the move done. The Dutchman in to P10 at the minute, although Womack is staying with him for the moment. But that was a decent move from the Alfa Romeo there, getting himself onto the top 10. He'll be chasing after Loftstock next.
Ayrton was right behind Nath Clark through turn 9. I think had to back off to not go into the back of the Williams, and couldn't make a move into turn 10, and then went very wide through turn 10 as well with speed, trying to take advantage but not quite. But we'll see if the Dane makes any more mistakes this race. We've seen that he's made a lot of mistakes this season while under pressure. Will it happen again? DRS is now enabled, so but he won't have it on this straight. So the Ferrari's going to have to wait for the next time. It is very difficult to overtake round here. I think it is more difficult to overtake round here than last year, actually. So we'll have to see if Ayrton can overcome that challenge. Rick gets past Lostock further down. He's past another Aston Martin, and into P9 he goes.
Oh, that was very... the rear just stepped out on him.
Speed!
Lostock has got through, and that speed around. Oh no!
He's had a spin at turn 4, and it's all come undone for the South African. Down to P5 he goes, but he managed to save it just about, as opposed to going for a full 180. So he hasn't lost too much time. He is down to P5 though, and recovery drive is on for him, and he's now right behind Patty Pat, who's running in P4 right now. And Myra is up to P3 on the podium, and it is between these two again, Nath Clark and Ayrton. We saw this in week 1. These two were battling all race long, and Nath Clark came out on top there after Ayrton's puncture. But here it's level pegging again. They're both on the same tyres, are they? Let me see. Detail. Tyres. Yeah, both on the mediums. So
bad exit from Nath Clark. This could put NER Ayrton in contention for the lead of this race at the minute. He's closing and closing and closing. I'm not sure he's going to be close enough perhaps to dive down the inside. It is. And they're going to go side by side for the first couple of corners, and then this is brilliant racing between the two of them. It's side by side as they go through turn 3 as well, flat out, as Ayrton takes the lead for the moment, but Nath Clark is right inside of the Ferrari's diffuser. They're going to come down to turn 4. No way past for the Williams at the moment, so it's NER Ayrton following Nath Clark as they end off sector 1. That was a brilliant sequence of corners.
Absolutely fantastic racing. It's the reigning champion and the championship leader fighting for the lead of the Spanish Grand Prix. It's fantastic to see a great overtake from Ayrton into turn 1, and he's trying to prove that he can race under pressure, and he's doing just that, and trying to extend this gap now to Nath Clark, because we did see in qualifying that Ayrton has fairly significant pace advantage over the Williams driver, and indeed Nath Clark with a little mistake there at turn 10 is going to cost him even more time, and I think we might see him struggling to stay within the DRS of the Danish driver.
Yeah, Nath Clark is that gap is dropping from the Ferrari as we speak. It's already at 9/10 of a second as they come onto the DRS straight again. Only 2 DRS straights, and the second one isn't really worth too much. It's this one down the main straight that will get you those overtakes. You'd have to be very close to the back of the other car to get a shot into turn 10.
Oh, Robinette and Patty Pat side by side through turn 1. Fantastic move from the AlphaTauri. Speed's gone for another spin. Oh no, the South African trying his best to get back up to the top 3. He's made another mistake, and down to P7 he goes. It's a disastrous first 5 laps for Speed Alcoholic, and he's on yet another recovery now as his teammate is up to P4 after a brilliant move at turn 1.
Yeah, looks like Trucks is going to be hunting down Patty Pat very soon. He's got a lot more ERS in the tank than the Williams, about double the amount the Williams has right now. So a move could be on here for P5.
Absolutely, the Red Bull getting out the way there, being lapped already. That's a terrible start to the race for Scaparo at the back, but yeah, Robinet now extending that gap to Patty Pat, and soon the Williams, I think, will be vulnerable without DRS, and Trugster is going to be looking to take that top 5 position, although he's got Speed Alcoholic right behind him. And trying to make up for his couple of mistakes that he's made now. Or is he coming into the pits? He's into the pits. So an early stop for the South African.
Much better exit for the Haas. He's going to go on the hunt this time. This DRS of Patty Pat. He's got more ERS to use. Speed has retired from the race. He's had enough this evening. Looking down the inside is the Haas. No move for the moment. Couldn't quite get close enough to that Williams. There's a mistake from Robinet in front as well, which is going to see Patty Pat all over the back of him now as well. When he moves down into turn 4, Patty Pat's going to have a look. The inside is defended by the AlphaTauri, so around the long way goes the Williams at the moment. No way through, and here comes the Haas tucking in underneath. That was a great move, opportunistic, and positioned that car beautifully to get up into P5.
Oh, brilliant stuff from Trugster, and now he's going for the move on Robinet as well. That was very risky, trying to scare Robinet off the track. But he does back out in the end, realises that is not going to work, and he's going to have to wait for the next DRS straight. But it's a fantastic start for Trugster, and down the inside he goes into turn 10. It's a great little move from the Haas, but will he make it stick? Robinet all the way around the outside, keeping the foot in, and that's great stuff from the AlphaTauri as Trugster has to slot in behind, and Patty Pat looking to take revenge for that opportunistic move from Trugster. It was a fantastic move, but yeah, Patty Pat got a little bit done there, it has to be said, with TH3 right behind them as well, and Rick trying to get onto the back of this as well. That's 5 cars.
Trugster's got the speed, he's going to take the outside line. I think he might get it just before the corner. Patty Pat might try and follow suit as well. Not close enough is the Williams. So into P4 goes the Haas of Trugster at the minute, and now Patty Pat's got to look in his mirrors. He's got THE and Rick just behind. They've managed to close in with all this battling. Rick is pushing THE through turn 3 at the minute. He's right in his diffuser. He's going to have a go up the inside of turn 4. He is late on the brakes, is the Alfa Romeo, and guess the inside line. Is the toe going to come through again? No, he's not. He's not close enough. So Rick takes P7 and is going to go on the hunt for Patty Pat.
Great move from the Dutchman, and these 5 cars all right beside each other. It's fantastic racing between them all. Rick a little bit on the yellow curb, got to be careful there, as Tier got disqualified from the session further back for parking in a dangerous location. I'm not sure how he managed that, but he is now out of the race. That's 2 cars out, including a championship contender, which is gutting to see. But the top 2, look at the gap between Nath Clark and Ayrton, by the way, Sumo. 4.5 seconds in about 5 laps, that is. Ayrton is absolutely on fire today. No pressure at all for him, it seems. And I think only a safety car now will bring Nath Clark back into contention.
Yeah, I think this track is suiting the defending champion. At the moment, he is having a great time out there, and qualifying lap really showed us that. And it was just a poor start from the Ferrari that saw him lose the lead in the first couple of laps, but he's gained it now and is looking to return to his dominant form of yore.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ted, in the chat. Good to see you. Thanks for following along, and yeah, I'm glad you're enjoying it as much as we are. These 5 cars still battling it out, but Patty Pat is losing out between himself and Robinet, and Rick as well struggling to stay with Patty Pat. Those gaps sort of on the cusp of 1 second between each driver, and as soon as it gets out of that range, they will start dropping off more and more. Robinet on the back of Trugster looking to get himself into P4 later on, but that 1 second range again, it's just about coming through, and Trugster going really well here in P4. Is a long way off the top 3, but again, very good driving so far from the Haas, and Myro will be absolutely delighted with where they are right now. P3 in the Alfa Romeo. Yes, Speed retired, but Speed made mistakes. Myra is here on merit, and it's a fantastic drive so far, but a long way to go, of course. Robinet with the DRS trying to make a move, but no such opportunity arises, so I'll go back to Scott in P14, trying to get past racing wheel for 13th place. You can see the flashing red light on the back of the Mercedes shows he's out of that ERS energy deployment, and Scott breezes past before turn 1 round the outside. Great stuff from the McLaren, and he's up to P13 as he continues his recovery drive.
Yeah, great move from the McLaren, really carried the speed through that corner, which allowed him to swoop around the outside and then go and claim the racing line again into the second part of the chicane. That's a great move. Patty Pat's closed back up a little bit, maybe a mistake from Robinet or just a bit more pace, but he's still on that cusp. I think his problem is his battery is dwindling at the moment compared to those around him, so he's using it to stay with these guys, but he's not going to have enough later on in the race. It is a marathon, not a sprint, Patty Pat, so save some battery.
Yeah, absolutely. We've also got Major had another spin at turn 4, and his fantastic qualifying has come undone in these first 10 laps with a couple of mistakes, which is very sad to see, but if a safety car comes out, he'll be back in this race as Avi gets his way past TH3. Further back down the inside goes the Mercedes, and the Israeli up into the top 8, chasing after Rick now. And I'm sure Avi has the pace to do exactly that after his early mistake. Major with a 10-second time penalty for corner cutting. That must have been in the last sector. And gets another. Oh, he'll be retiring, I think. Yeah, there we go. So the German, after fantastic qualifying, gives up on this race, unfortunately. I raced with him in another league. He's a fantastic racer, so it's unfortunate to see him having so much trouble in the ESRL this season, but hopefully he can bounce back sooner rather than later. Robinet, sorry, go on.
No, yeah, Robinet is staying with Truckster at the minute in that Alpha Tauri as a yellow flag, as that's
Truckster's gone.
Oh no,
he's
Truckster spun
at the final corner. He's gone. He didn't even touch the curb. He just got too much on the throttle, and he's going to have to wait for all of these cars to come through and lose more and more time, and just about avoids that Red Bull there. But Truckster down to P11.
Rick close to the back of Patty Pat, pushing him through. This could be another move. He has a look around the outside. No way through for the Dutchman as well. Avi is on the back of this battle as well. 3 cars, and Rick's going to go and do this exact same thing he did a few laps ago. A big lock up from the Williams. They're going to continue to go side by side. Oh, the Alfa Romeo and the Williams, and Rick is forced to go around the outside of turn 5. They're all the way, the long way round, looking for the better exit, and he gets it. And gets in front of the Williams just now. Avi lurking in the background as well, trying to find a way through if one of these two makes a single mistake. They're very close racing between the two of them, very clean as well.
Great stuff here between these three, and now Avi's looking for the opportunity. He's got the DRS on the Williams, and he's got superior ERS down the inside through turn 10. It's a great move from the Mercedes, and into P6 he goes. Patty Pat with no response in the end, and he is down to P7. Using all of that ERS early on has come back to bite him, and a little mistake as well from the Williams sees him losing 2 positions in the end. Now Avi right on the back of Rick, as Rick gets himself a 3-second time penalty. That's the first track limits penalty of the day. And now here comes Avi.
Very quickly on Rick, and they're going to go side by side. Barely any ERS left for the Mercedes, but it doesn't matter. He's ahead before the corner, and that is P5 for the Mercedes. A decent recovery performance thus far.
Yeah, great stuff from him, but he is out of that energy, as you say, and Rick has still got plenty left, so the Mercedes could still be vulnerable if Rick can stay on the back for the rest of this lap. Rick will see that flashing red light and know that Avi is down on ERS, but is the Dutchman going to be able to do anything about it is the question. He's a huge twitch out of turn 5, well saved by the Alfa Romeo, but he still keeps it on the track and keeps it just behind Avi, trying to take advantage of the ERS difference between them.
Tia said he was struggling with his setup, and it felt good in time trial but was twitchy during the race, and he managed to spin, beach the car on a curb, and that's why he was disqualified.
Ah, that's so unlucky. Yeah, I've seen a few people get beached on curbs online, but I haven't yet to see it in a league until now. We've got a spinner through sector 2. That's Moti. That's Wumax. That's Wumax.
It looked like looked like an AlphaTauri for a moment. I don't know why.
Rick does have the DRS, but he's too far back to make any sort of move, and I think Avi is going to be out that 1 second range by the end of this lap, I would have thought, because the Dutchman just does not have the pace on that Mercedes, and Avi will go. Oh no, never mind! Avi's gone for a spin at turn 3 and collected Patty Pat, and they're both out of the race. That's surely a safety car. It is. There comes the safety car down through the pit lane. It's a disaster for those two. It's so unlucky. Avi a spin at turn 3. Rick, fantastic reactions to avoid them, but Patty Pat didn't quite have the same skill really to avoid the Mercedes, and both out of the session. Rick up to P5, no challenge to him now, but there is a safety car, so the strategies are about to be shaken up. Nath Clark will be put back into this race now. Ayrton into the pits. I'm sure Nath Clark will follow him in. Yeah, there goes the Williams, and I think hard tyres till the end for those two.
Yeah, I think this safety car's come out just around the pit window with the start to the opening up, I think. Perhaps a couple laps out or hereabouts, but hards for most people starting on the medium tyres. The hard runners will have a choice to make here, whether they stay out or come in. They might have to come in, or stay out rather. But, coming in would mean they'd make an extra stop.
Well, coming in, they'd have to do around 20 laps on the mediums, which would be incredibly difficult. Rick double stacking with Myra, only loses a tiny bit of time, so I don't think we'll lose any positions unless. Oh, sorry, there was a bit of a glitch there. It looked like he was stuck in the pits, but no, he is out, and still P5 for the Alfa Romeo. And yeah, everyone pitting for hards now. Racing Wheel has gone into the mediums from the hards, so looking to go to the end there. Vardy and Rumax onto the soft, so they'll be going for another stop, but they'll be very, very quick once the safety car comes in. Scaparo, meanwhile, goes for a spin at turn 2 and continues to be lapped by more and more cars. It's not been a grand day out for the Red Bull, unfortunately.
Thank you, T-Burn. I'm glad you're enjoying the commentary at the moment, and it is very nice to be back in the comms box with Ghost once again on a Friday night. And we have a safety car here right now with NER Ayrton leading the way as the pack begin to close back up again. Scott will be happy this safety car's come out. It's going to bring him right back into the race after a spin on the first lap. It's also going to bring, well, Patty Pat's out of the race, but it will bring Vardy a bit closer as well. Lost Stock will be a little bit closer to the action as well. Gives Rick a chance to maybe fight with Robinet and perhaps get up with his teammate Myra to secure a 3-4 if all things were to end as they, well, not are, but could be.
Yeah.
And it gives a chance for the Haas as well to try and fight back in the midfield.
Absolutely. Although, yeah, Trugster this safety car will be music to Trugster's ears after the spin that the Haas had earlier on, back in the race now. But yeah, I wonder how costly that 3-second time penalty will end up being for Rick, and how many more people will end up getting time penalties before the end of this race. Dutchman's still the only one with a track limits penalty, which is surprising to me, but it's great to see. Very clean driving from everyone today, and even if there are a lot of mistakes, it's Spain. It's such a difficult track, especially on this year's game with all those lethal yellow curves. So I'm not blaming anyone for that, but Avi so unlucky there, as well as Patty.
Yeah, incredibly so. With no ghosting as well, these crashes are frequent if somebody does spin, and that's that's the challenge of racing elite settings. It's as close to real life as it can possibly get, and these mistakes do happen. That's part of motorsport, and it's just a shame that it happened when it did.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, not really much to talk about during the safety car because everyone's on the same tyre apart from Vardy and Womax, who will be very fast when we get back underway. And Racing Wheel on the mediums all the way to the end. Keep a side eye on that as well. But yeah, no strategy variation between any of the top 10, as you would expect when a safety car comes out right at the pit stop boundary. Yeah, but Ayrton's 9-second lead has completely disappeared, and we'll see if Nath Clark can perhaps try and make a move at the restart.
Here's one for you, Ghost. Why is it that the lapped cars can't overtake? Surely it's fairly simple to do. Like, the lapped car goes ghosted while it's in amongst the field, or on the laps that it's got to get back to the back, and then it can get back in the race rather than cementing yourself as being at the back forever.
Yeah.
It makes very little sense. They let them through in real life, so why can't we do that?
Yeah.
It doesn't seem too hard. You can even, as long as it's ghosted, and then the safety car easy enough to pass, the thing's slow as hell, so...
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's odd that they still haven't added it, but I imagine historically with Codemasters F1 games, there have been a lot of glitches with safety cars, so I imagine it's difficult for them to edit the code of a safety car without breaking it again, so who knows, maybe that's the reason, but I am not a programmer by any means. I get too frustrated when I try to code anything. But the safety car will be in this lap, so Ayrton weaving around, he'll set the pace and decide when to go racing again. Nath Clark going to try and get inside the head of the Dane, but we know how good Ayrton is at safety car restarts. From the past, he's been very good at it, and he's off now, but Nath Clark has stayed with him, so the Williams has not been caught out here. A worthy challenger Nath Clark is proving this season. And
Rick taking the fight to Robinette a little bit further back as well. They're going to go side by side all the way down to the first couple of corners. There's a battle in the front as well, and it looks like Ayrton's kept it at the minute, but Rick is going to P4.
He made a mistake, and Nath Clark round the outside of turn 3. They're side by side still. Another mistake from Ayrton, and Nath Clark takes the lead of the race yet again at a restart. Ayrton got it all wrong, couldn't shake the Williams, and Nath Clark with the superior straight line speed gets alongside at turn 1, and Ayrton a mistake through turn 2, sort of scared into a mistake by Nath Clark, and the championship leader takes the lead of the race but makes another mistake, and now Ayrton's going to be right back behind him again. They're still battling, these two. Ayrton's going to be very annoyed that he's let the Williams back past, but if he can get back past, he's already proved that he has the pace to easily win this race. So it's all about if Nath Clark can defend from here, as Lostock and Trugster go side by side as well.
And Nath Clark, Ayrton incredibly quick, and Nath Clark's going to try and keep him behind for as long as he can, but I think it's a matter of when, not if, Ayrton is going to get past, because that pace advantage was phenomenal. He was really opening up that gap once he was let into clear air. At the moment, I think Littlewood's had a spin in the final corner. That's a shame for the Ferrari, but it's Nath Clark followed by NER Ayrton, then Myra, and then Rick, and then Robinette after the restart.
Yeah, Robinette looking to get past Rick. He's right behind the Alfa Romeo. But no progress being made as of yet. as the AlphaTauri tries his best to stay in this battle for the podium, with Myra trying to stay on board with the top two as well. If they keep battling, then Myra could get involved here and disrupt the fight between the top two. And it definitely doesn't have the raw pace to compete, but if they keep battling, then Myra could get involved here. And when we're on a track that's so difficult to overtake, that could be crucial in this battle for the race lead.
There's a few groups starting to form after this restart. We've got a battle for 6th place. That goes all the way down to P9. And then we've got a battle for 10th place, which goes all the way down to P13.
Yeah, and a battle for the lead down to P3, a battle for P4 between 4th and 5th. So as is that Moti Peretz going for a spin? Yes, it is. DRS now enabled though, so Ayrton next lap is going to have that open rear wing flap to have the superior straight line speed to Nath Clark, but there's very little difference between their ERS battery levels, so Nath Clark does have plenty to defend with, although Ayrton does have the slight advantage on that front, with Myra a little below both of them. Rick still defending from Robinet well, but that 3 seconds means that he is currently a net P5 anyway, although extending that gap down to P6 is exactly what he needs to do to make sure that penalty doesn't affect him too much in the final results.
Vardy taking a bit of a left field strategy here. He's on the soft tyres. He's going to make a move on Racing Wheel side by side into turn 7 and 8. Surely not. They're going to continue to go, and there's contact.
Ayrton's hit the back of Nath Clark. Sorry to interrupt you, Sumo. He's gone straight into the back of the Williams, and it's yet another mistake from the reigning champion while under pressure, and he's lost his front wing end plate. He's going to have to come into the pits, and it's race over surely for the Ferrari unless there's another safety car. He's going to have to come in. Is he going to come in? No, he's going to stay out with that damage, trying his best to stay on board, but Myra is going to have the pace now. He's got the DRS and the ERS, no DRS for the reigning champion, and Myra is up into P2, and Rick can get involved as well here, as he's still just about in front of Robinet, and suddenly a podium could be on the cards for either Rick or Robinet yet again. As Rick now down the inside of turn 3, Ayrton really struggling. Surely he's going to have to come in. He's going to have to give up on that wing, as Rick up into P3. Robinet trying to get past Ayrton as well as quickly as he can. But it's another massive mistake from the Ferrari that's going to cost him a huge number of points yet again. As we've got another safety car, never mind. He's so lucky there. He's still going to go to the back. It's Moti Peretz.
Final corner.
Yeah, wow, okay. So, sorry, I talked for a very long contiguous time there, but didn't let you get a word in, Sumo, but there was so much going on. And Ayrton, a stroke of luck for the Ferrari, but he's still going to be right to the back.
Yeah, that is a huge error from Ayrton there, costing himself a large number of points. And it seems that Ferrari over here in ESRL are throwing away the points as they are in real life at the moment. I was discussing with Ghost just before the stream started that Ferrari in real life F1 have lost 171 points over the course of the season, 36 of those being down to strategy, 84 of those being down to car malfunctions, and 56 down to driver error.
Well, certainly a driver error from the reigning champion. He has to go onto the softs here, because remember there's only one set of mediums and one set of hards, so he can't change back to the mediums because he doesn't have another set. So he's going to have to do a two-stop unless he can get those softs all the way to the end. I'm sure he'll try it. He's that kind of driver. But we saw him.
I'd probably just pit again and put the hards on.
That could be what he does. Yeah, he might do exactly that actually. But yeah, he's at the back again. We saw this last week in Miami. A mistake just plows into the back of the car ahead of him, loses his front wing and has to pit and ends up at the back. And this time it's later on in the race, so it could be even more costly for the reigning champion. Nath Clark cannot believe his luck, surely. He must have been thinking, as soon as Ayrton went in the back of him, he would have felt the touch and thought, well, for starters, please don't let me spin. But for secondary, surely Ayrton has damage from that. It was a huge hit. And, I mean, that's 3 races, at least like 4 major mistakes from Ayrton in 3 races. We saw 1 mistake from him the entirety of last season, 1 major mistake when he spun while battling speed in Japan. But under pressure, the Dane is just not able to keep the car, to keep consistent, to stop himself from making mistakes. At least that's been the case for the start of this season, and Nath Clark is looking to make it 3 wins from 3, as Ayrton's going to do exactly what you said, Sumo. He's going to stick the hards back on in the pits, and to the end he goes.
Littlewood putting on a set of soft tyres as well, double stack for Ferrari. I think he was on softs before, or perhaps it was mediums. But yeah, I'm not sure they'll make it to the end, I'd imagine, but they won't feel very great.
Yeah, definitely. They'll be absolutely screaming by the last couple of laps. Wow, I mean, this is the story of Ayrton's season so far. It's just throwing away points with major errors, major, very avoidable errors. 3 races in a row, and he was extremely lucky to get himself back onto the podium last week after hitting speed. He did lose it again in the steward's room down to P4, but still very lucky to get that far back up the grid. And I think he does have the pace to get back into at least sort of the top 6, maybe the top 5 again, but it's yet again more wasted points for the reigning champion. And Nath Clark is taking full advantage, as the safety car will be in this lap actually, so Nath Clark will set the pace.
Here we go then, we're going back racing it again. Nath Clark is going to be your effective safety car. Myra is going to be lurking in the background with Rick on the podium for now, but that penalty will see Robinette take it if all things were to end the way they are now. Nath Clark going as late as he dare, and I think he's still waiting at the minute. Very last minute he goes, and I think he catches Myra sleeping just a little bit as he pulls away as they come down towards turn 1 at the moment. Myra closing in a little bit in the slipstream as well. Is that THE going up the inside of Robinette? It is. They're going to go side by side for the next couple of corners. They continue to go wheel to wheel as they come through turn 3 now.
Whoa,
and it's the AlphaTauri that gets it at the moment. And a slide from THE at the minute, which brings Lostock nice and close now. It's Aston Martin versus Haas in the midfield, but Eniar Ayrton already up to P8, and his teammate follows him through.
Taking full advantage of these mistakes is the reigning champion, and he's looking to get himself back on the podium at the moment. I mean, there's been a lot of wheel-to-wheel racing and a lot of mistakes in this first lap after the restart, and Ayrton looking to get himself into P7 as soon as possible. He's currently P8. Lostock warming the tyres just in front of him. Ayrton having a look down the inside actually, but no, not actually making the move. He is going to have his teammate on the softs right behind him as well, so that could end up being a problem for him. But yeah, Ayrton right on the back of Lostock, and I think this move is a when, not if.
Yeah, certainly so. He's got some incredible pace to that Ferrari, and you can see it now. He's got an incredible exit out that final corner, and he's closing. Oh, he's not actually. The slipstream in the ERS. He's not. He looked like he was closing on the offboard, but he's not.
Yeah.
In fact, these 3 are towing themselves away from Ayrton, but he's caught back up again as I'm riding on board with him now through turn 3. A move could be on here as they come towards turn 4 from the reigning champion at the minute.
Defensive
gone
goes
for it.
Aston Martin a little, and he does go for it side by side. That's incredibly close racing, incredibly tight between the two. Space given from both drivers, and Ayrton manages to go around the outside, and the Aston Martin can't quite stick it in. That's a great move.
Ayrton much more comfortable on the throttle through that section of track than Lostock, and into P7 goes the Ferrari, looking to recover as many points as he can, but for the third race in a row, that's what I've been saying, which is not what he wants at all. And he nearly goes into the back of Trugster, nearly makes the same mistake again, just about avoids the Haas, but he's got to be careful here. The cars ahead of him are slower, and he's got to be patient as he makes his way back through the grid. Nath Clark still leads, but Myra is in DRS range still, so Myra staying with the championship leader, trying to get their first win in ESRL. Rick has dropped off a bit, but that 3-second time penalty could really cost him by the end, because Ayrton is coming through down the inside of Trugster up towards turn 1, makes the move very easily. Trugster doesn't fight it too hard. Ayrton very late on the brakes nevertheless, but makes the move up into P6 for the Ferrari, and now chasing after TH3, and then there's 2 seconds to Robinet.
Yeah, he's got the final Haas to get through, and then it's a chase to get after Robinet.
Whoa! He's gone for it. He's gone for it at turn 5, and he's made the move. That was really good from Ayrton. A dummy to the outside, and TH3 fell for it, hook, line, and sinker. And Ayrton back down the inside, takes P5, and will be looking for that podium, especially with that 3-second time penalty for Rick.
Wow, I moved away from the battle just to talk about the front. I didn't expect the move to come, but it came, and Ayrton is up ahead, and he's got just 8 laps, 9 laps to catch up
8 laps.
That Alpha Tauri, and he's got 2.1 seconds to close possible with the pace that he has right now. Myra has just fallen outside of that DRS range of Nath Clark, who is to win this race bar any mistakes, and any commentator's curse getting involved.
I think that 2 seconds should come down very quickly for Ayrton. And Robinet will be looking in his mirrors and thinking, oh no, how is he behind me already? As Ayrton now 1.8 behind, 1.7 as the gap comes down. Ayrton very strong through turn 4, he has been all race, and 1.6 now is the gap. It's coming down, it's going to be within a second by the end of this lap, I think, as Robinet is going to have to bring out all the stops to keep his podium in that AlphaTauri.
Yeah, certainly so. THE leads the train as the battle for P6 rages on. It's the other Ferrari at the back in P9 there, with Womack's trying to get involved and catch back onto this, with the 2 Hasses leading Lostock.
Lostock a little bit wide there as Barks Littlewood tries to take advantage in the Ferrari. The soft tyres working well for now, but they're not going to work well for long, as another mistake from Lostock could leave him vulnerable now. Barks Littlewood is going to have the better exit, but Lostock recovers just about, as the Ferrari does not have the straight line speed, no ERS left, and in fact Womack is going to take advantage. He's got the ERS, round the outside goes the Aston Martin, the Bulgarian taking full advantage of Barks's straight line pace deficit there. And into P9 goes the Aston Martin as Barks continues to tumble down, and that's Vardy who's had a spin at turn 2 further back as well.
Oh, no, it's a shame for the McLaren. He's been lamenting after a number of mistakes. I've seen him there. What are the point system here again, guys? Is it the top 10 that score?
It's I believe everyone scores, but it's similar to us, but more exaggerated. I think the ESRL have bigger bonuses for the top sort of 5, but I believe it's still everyone scores. Yeah, if you finish, you'll get yourself some points. As the 2 Hasses right beside each other, they're going to continue a battle, and Ayrton now within that 1 second range of Robinet.
That was very quick. About 2 laps it took for him to catch back up. Scott's looking to try and get involved in this fight in the bottom reach, the top 10. He's had a decent recovery, but Ayrton's on the move already, and it's going to be round the outside, way before the corner. The Ferrari goes and is into P4, and that will see him on the podium as long as he doesn't get a penalty.
Looks so menacing, that Ferrari, doesn't it? Going through that corner, just breezing past the AlphaTauri, and now we'll be straight after Rick. We've got yellow flags. That's another spin for Scaparo further back. Yeah, Ayrton 1.5 seconds to Rick, and Rick is going to be absolutely gutted about that 3-second time penalty, because he knows he could have had a podium today if it wasn't for that. Ayrton will catch up very quickly, though. He will want to do it on track just in case. And Rick is still right behind Myra as well, so Ayrton will be thinking he could get a 2-for-1 here. There's 5 laps to go. It's certainly possible. And if Ayrton can get his way back up to P2 after that spin, or sorry, not the spin, after that mistake, then that would be very impressive. But as I say, still very lucky that that safety car came out when it did.
Yeah, certainly so. I'm sure Rick will try and defend all he can from NER Ayrton when he does get within range of that Alfa Romeo, just to cover off his teammate and give him a chance to claim P2 perhaps. Rick knows he's out of this fight for the podium, and maybe even a fight for the top 4 as well, as Robinet is close enough to benefit from the penalty that Rick has at the minute. It's just a question of
mistake from Rick.
Slapper from Rick. Very good to catch it, but that Ayrton will be seeing that, and he will be seeing an opportunity to make a move.
Absolutely, he's now within a second, so here is the DRS, and he'll see the flashing red light on the back of that Alfa Romeo as well. I think Rick is going to be a sitting duck on the run to turn 1. We've got yellow flags, that's Scaparo again, but yeah, Rick is definitely not going to be able to defend this one, and Ayrton will be through without any problems at all. 3 laps to go. Myra will be telling Rick to defend like a lion, but it's not going to happen, unfortunately. No ERS for the Dutchman, and Ayrton will be by very easily.
Yeah, he's got a 2-second gap to get through, and Ayrton just breezing past immediately, way before the corner. About halfway along the straight, he got that move done, as Rick now sits at P4, which will be P5 come the end of this race. And Ayrton now on the charge after Myra, who is... that gap has already come down to 1.4 seconds.
Yeah, it's going to come down even more. Ayrton, I mean, we saw how much faster he was than the rest of the grid in the first stint. So it should be no surprise that that gap is tumbling down, but it's still incredible to see. But Nath Clark, I believe, will be a step too far for the reigning champion, and he's going to lose more points to the championship leader today, even with this phenomenal recovery from P12. But again, I mean, every time Ayrton has made a mistake like that, there's been a safety car almost immediately to spare him his blushes. So he's got to be careful, because one of these times he's going to make a mistake like that and there won't be a safety car to save him, and he will be at the back of the grid. So it's not going to happen for him every time, so he does have to be careful. Myra is also out of ERS, so this is going to be job done for Ayrton next lap, I think. 3 to go, but yeah, Myra is not going to be able to defend this at all, I don't think.
Perhaps even sooner. Ayrton is closed right up the back of him. It could be a dive down into turn 4. It is not even a dive. He gets alongside, gets the job done immediately, and is going to try and use every second he has left of this race to try and close that gap to Nath Clark and make a move toward the end. But I don't think he'll get it. I think he'll just be out of reach.
Nath Clark is going to be absolutely furious in that cockpit to see Ayrton already into P2. He would have thought when that happened that he was going to gain a huge number of points on the reigning champion, but as it is, it's only going to be 5. In fact, I think it might be 4 because of fastest lap. Let's see who has it. Oh, it's broken again, so I don't know. But yeah, it's been broken. It's been broken every week, by the way, Sumo. The fastest laps. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's causing that. I believe it might be something to do with broadcast formation lap, actually, because that's the only thing this league has in common that I haven't seen in other leagues. And this is the only league where I see that glitch, so maybe, but that's just speculation really. That gap is coming down, but with 2 laps to go, it's going to be a step too far for Ayrton to win this race, unless there was a mistake from Nath Clark, but there hasn't been a mistake from Nath Clark all season so far, and he's going to continue that record, it seems. 2 laps to go, he's not under any pressure really. That gap is too big for Ayrton to close down. As we've got yellow flags, that's, I think, Scott, no, that's Vardy, or is that Scott? It was Scott having a little bit of a mistake at turn 1, unfortunately. He's down to P11.
Just keep an eye on the battle at the moment for P6, and it looks like the Haas cars are playing the team game. Truckster could have overtaken on the last lap, but he backed off and is continuing to let his teammate lead the way for Haas at the moment, and it's doing them wonders as they're keeping Lostock at bay at the moment, and Womack is nowhere to be seen, although Truckster having a look, but he backs away from it. I think that's a team game for the Haas cars there.
Quite possibly. They are in a very strong P6 and 7, so it's no surprise at all. But I think Trugster is going to try and make the move, but just not going to take any risks doing it. We've got yellow flags. That's Scaparo again. I thought that was Nath Clark then. Yeah, Trugster right behind. We enter lap 33. It's the final lap now for everyone, and can Trugster make the move? TH3's got the superior ERS and Trugster's got nothing left, so there's no move made for the Haas that's in P7. Unable to get past his teammate, but I think the Haasses will be happy with where they are.
Lostock losing the rear end at turn 3 there. Very careful to save that one at the moment. He manages to stay with him, but
I just about cut away as that happened, so that's unfortunate. But yeah, good save from Lostock by the sounds of it, to keep himself in P8. The Haas is still right next to each other, but I'm going to go back to our race leader, who is coming through the final sector now, down to the final chicane, past the spun Red Bull at the end, misses the apex. It doesn't matter. Ayrton's too far back, and it's win 3 out of 3 for Nath Clark. What a start to the season he is having. He wins the Spanish Grand Prix. Ayrton comes home in P2. It could have been so much worse, but for that extremely lucky safety car. Myra is still a good recovery though. Myra P3. Robinet takes P4 from Rick after penalties, and the Haasses do finish in the same order. TH3 takes it P6 by 1.5 tenths from his teammate, but a great battle between the two there. Lostock in P8, followed by his teammate as well, Womax, and Scott rounds out the top 10.
There you go. Scott had a great race to find himself back into P10. A horrible start saw him at the back of the grid, and he's at the bottom of the top 10 now. It's a great recovery from the McLaren, if I must say so myself.
As Vardy comes across the line, that will be that for the Spanish Grand Prix. What a race it was. It looked like it was going to be a walk in the park for the reigning champion Ayrton, but another major error from the Dane saw him at the back of the grid. Safety car came out almost immediately afterwards, which saved his bacon, but he still had to drive well to recover up to P2. So his superior pace, I mean by far superior pace, yet again results in, doesn't result in a win for the reigning champion, and he's now a long way behind in the championship already.
Wow, incredible stuff. That's weird. It's showing the lap times weird for me. I don't know if it's the same for you.
Yeah. It says like 21 seconds, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been the same the last couple of weeks as well. At a guess, I'd say broadcast formation lap is causing it, but I have no idea. But anyway, Nath Clark does take the win after an action-packed race, and after the first stint, he'll be very happy to be taking the win. He would have thought that P2 would be his best bet today. Ayrton does recover to P2, but it's still a terrible mistake from the Dane. Saw him lose the race. Myra P3 takes a very well-deserved podium. Robin A in P4 after Rick's penalty brings him down to P5. TH3 and Trugster P6 and 7 for Haas, and then the two Aston Martins as well. Scott takes P10. Barks Littlewood, Racing Wheel and Vardy are the last of the finishers, with Scaparo being just about classified but 2 laps down, and then everyone else unable to finish the race. Any extra thoughts, Sumo? Should we have a think about driver of the day afterwards as well?
Yeah, I was thinking about driver of the day as we were going through the order there.
I'll let you have a say, and then I'll say what mine is.
Yeah, I'll have a think. I think. Hold on, let me go back on the stream because I was thinking about it as I was looking over the ending order. If my stream wants to load. Let's have a look. I can see the order now, but my stream is being annoying. There we go. I think THE did a very good job and led the way for Haas for most of that time. And I mean, if I could give it to both of them, I probably would for the incredible team play. But I think the THE is my driver of the day. Gets himself in a solid P6, and may not be the highest placed team that would go to Alfa Romeo, but scoring a decent amount of points for Haas, and that will be good for their Constructors' Championship.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, for me, it was between Myra, Nath Clark, and TH3, as you said. It's really difficult to decide because Nath Clark, although didn't have the pace, took advantage of Ayrton's mistakes and crucially put Ayrton under pressure by overtaking him at both starts. So the safety car restart was fantastic for Nath Clark. As was his start. So yeah, I think, but Myra drove really well, and as you say, TH3 with the team play. In the interest of not giving it to the race winner, I'm going to say Myra, but so I think we'll have a joint driver of the day, commentators driver of the day between TH3 and Myra. So yeah, there we go. Well, anything else to add, Sumo, after an exciting Spanish Grand Prix?
Well, it's going to be an uphill battle, I think. Eniar Ayrton was incredibly quick in the last season of ESRL, but he's got some work to do to work on that those mistakes and work on that consistency when he's under pressure. And if he can do that, then he can go back to his race-winning ways. But Nath Clark has got the measure on him at the moment, and deserves to be leading this championship right now.
Absolutely. It's that'll be a 25-point margin between Nath Clark and Ayrton after race 3, which is a race win, by the way, in ESRL. So yeah, it's going to be very tricky for Ayrton if he continues this run of errors, with Nath Clark just incredibly consistent and mistake-free for the Brit and the Williams. He extends his championship lead once again to 25 points as we enter. Well, it's only race 3. I was about to say as we enter the sort of halfway stage, but it's not. It's only week 3 and Nate Clark has already a massive lead, so Ayrton, as you say, has a lot of work to do. Got to eliminate those mistakes from his repertoire. But yeah, I think that's all we have to say, unless you've got anything more to add.
I've got nothing more.
Alright, so in that case, thank you everyone for watching Race 3 of ESRL Season 3. I hope you all enjoyed as much as we did, and make sure you leave a like on the stream and subscribe if you haven't already. It really helps me out and it helps out ESRL as well, get the league more visibility that it deserves. So without further ado, have a good night everyone. I have been Ghost.
Oh, I've been Sumo.
And we'll see you all next week for round 4. Goodbye everyone.
Goodbye.